Our next guest is a producer who just. There are some producers who don't just make movies; they make good movies, and one of them is Toyin Adewunmi. I've seen three of our movies: Strain, White Goose on YouTube. I'm sure you are shocked that I've seen it. When I tell you that I see almost,
Now I believe you.
you understand? And then Offshoot is in the cinema, doing very well. A lot of you must have seen the trailer, and it's beautiful. And I can tell you that the movie is as beautiful as the trailer is. I'll first of all ask you. I expect that a lot of people say that women are meticulous, and that's why women are taking over the industry one way or the other because they take their time when they want to work. Um, in months back, most of the movies that we used to see women do, the thing are changing. Initially, most of the thing the women were doing were movies that were trying to bring out most of the oppressions that women were going through in the society. But it's changing now. Yours is an action movie. Mm-hmm. What prompted it? What is the inspiration behind it?
Okay, good question. Thank you for having me, first of all, and good afternoon, everybody. Well, we didn't set out to make an action film. Funny enough, it started out just with an idea, with a story idea, and as we started to develop the idea, we found that we could have, an action part of it. So the film itself it's a mix of drama, action, and thriller. So it wasn't like we set out for action, but it just turned out that as we fine-tuned the story, there was an action element that we had to explore, and that's how we have what we have now.
Tell us your experience. How did you get into Nollywood? Because I just woke up one day, I saw your movie on Netflix. That was Train.
Yeah.
You understand? And after that, in November, you had White Goose on YouTube. Before you now came with this one again that is in the cinema. Mm-hmm. Tell us, how did a lot of people usually, before they get what you are doing, do what you are doing, I would have done some other things. You understand? Tell me, what were you doing before you started doing Strain?
Okay, I'll quickly run you through my journey in a very short period. I used to work in a multinational company as an HR person, and I think it was 2015, someone had reached out, a friend in the industry had reached out to say, oh, Toyin, I have this project. I'm looking for partnership. Can you come on board and we do this together? I'm like, okay, sounds interesting. I've always been wowed about how films are made, what happens behind the scenes. So I said, okay, yeah, let's give this a shot. So I think 2015, we then had this partnership. It didn't work out. I actually lost some money. The project didn't see the light of day. But just that encounter sort of piqued my interest in, exploring further. And so in 2016, I finally left the multinational company where I'd worked for 10 years at that time as an HR person. And I just thought to myself, okay, now I'm out on the streets. What should I be doing? What can I do? Right? And then I'm like, okay, this film thing that is just somewhere in the background, let me bring it back up. And so reached out to a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. And then in 2017, I did my very first project. It's an Hausa language TV series. I don't speak Hausa. I don't understand. Maybe I understand maybe 2 words in Hausa. But the people I met at the time, as you know, the industry is about who you meet and who you speak to. So the people I met at the time were like, oh, let's do something Hausa language. African Magic needs Hausa content. You won't lose money. You make your money back. I'm like, okay, let's do that. So we packed our bags and went to Kaduna. And then we shot a series in Kaduna. And we actually licensed it to African Magic. It's called Buri Dunia. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I liked the whole experience of being behind the scene and all of that, seeing the final products, come out. I'm like, okay, I think I can do something else after this. And so in same 2018, I then tried my hands on my first feature film titled Charmed. Charmed had Pastor Jimmy Odukoya, who is now a full-time pastor. He was our lead actor, and Bimbo Ademoye, Omomida, and a few other people. So we tried Charmed at the time. This was 2018. And after Charmed, I sat back and said, okay, Tony, you can't continue like this. This your pick knowledge from here, pick from here. Today somebody will tell you it's horizontal line. Tomorrow somebody say, no, it's vertical line. So I said, okay, let me go get some knowledge so that, enough of all this bamboozling of somebody saying is this, is that. So I packed my bags and went to New York Film Academy. I couldn't leave my family for too long, so I had to just quickly do like a short course in New York Film Academy. I was in the California campus, so I did a short course in producing, and then came back home. I'm like, okay, now I have better understanding of what production is and what my duties are as a producer, either as an executive producer or a line producer, creative producer, whichever the producers are. And it was after then that we then did Strain, which was on Netflix for about 2 years or so. After Strain, I also then worked with TK, Baba Kelani, and Jadi Oshiberu. We worked on Ayinla together. So I was a line producer on Ayinla and also one of the executive producers on Ayinla. So I thought to just give you all this background. So I didn't just wake up one day to make, Strain and now Offshoot. So we then did Ayinla. And then there's one thing I've also realized, that the industry, you need to keep putting something out there. If you go comatose for too long, things would happen and people will leave you behind. So I thought, okay, I needed to do something. I didn't really have a big story at the time. So I said, okay, well, I have this small story I can do. So we then did Wild Goose, which is a short film, and we just put it on YouTube at the time. And from then, we had then started working on Offshoots over like a 2-year period, which is now finally out in the cinemas. And then in the middle of all of that as well, I've done a couple of corporate videos. I've done a couple of documentaries for people as well.
Okay, now that you mentioned it, I remember you and I chatted. So
Yeah.
Nice to finally meet you.
You're welcome.
So would you say the experience has been profitable, especially coming from the point of view of working in the multinational? You sold Strain to Netflix.
Mhm.
Was the money recovered? As in, did you recoup your investment? You led there to do a short film. Now from there, Kile was a partnership.
Mhm.
From there to Offshoot, do you think it's been profitable for you? Has it been worth it business-wise, especially within the context of where you are coming from?
So business-wise, it's been borderline. So I wouldn't say, oh, I've made crazy money. I am now a billionaire courtesy of filmmaking. It's been borderline. With Strain in particular, for instance, we broke even, and we had a little change to play around with as well, so it wasn't a loss, right? Now we have Offshoots, but have I made like big money from filmmaking? No. Do I look forward to making big money? Definitely. And then also for me, I haven't left human resource management completely, which is also why I don't make as many films as a lot of people do. So I'm like, I wear 2 hats pretty much. So I still do human resource consulting, and even sometimes, so now I consult. I don't work like a company. I consult as an human resource person. And sometimes when my clients see maybe my status and they see me post about films, they get confused, like, what's going on here? Whose work is this? And I say, oh, it's my work. And like, how? Where do you find the time to combine these two? So I also think because I'm not doing film full time, I also don't really feel the financial impact of what it is. So back to your question, has it been profitable? Yes, but just baseline.
Okay. Before I ask about England working with TK, what's been reception like for Offshoot? Do you like the reviews? Do you like the numbers? What's been the reception like?
I'll start with the reviews. The reviews have been fantastic. The reviews have been very amazing. I've had people who I practically maybe had to convince to say, just go and see this film. If you don't like it, I will even give you your money back. And then they come out and like, wow, that was amazing. I wasn't expecting that. That was really beautiful, right? In terms of the numbers, again, we know that with the industry, there's a lot you need to put in to push. PR is like massive,
Sorry,
right?
let me interrupt. I was just I just wrote it down. Why was it never talk of the town?
I mean, so we learn as we go. A few mistakes have been made, a few assumptions have been made prior to release. We thought that with all that has been done with the distributor and the cast, that we were in a good place. And then we finally released and we realized, we're encountering people who are saying, I haven't heard of Offshoots. You didn't promote it. And we're like, but it's on this platform, it's on this page, it's in the newspaper, it's here. Then they're like, we didn't see it, right? So we've taken some learnings from that. And so because of that, it's picking up, but not as fast as we would have loved. But I got updates on the numbers this morning, and I'm relatively happy with, the pace we have compared to the numbers I got. I won't tell you that.
But I know, but I can get it easily.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get it behind back from the back end, of course, it's
in the public space.
It's not public. It's like a selected few, so you have to be in that space to get it. Right?
No, now let me go straight to this. Filmmaking in Nigeria, a lot of people have a lot of experiences that they bring in money and lose a lot of money. Some are lucky, though. You understand? Mm-hmm. Did that not scare you?
Not really. I think the first experience I had was a good one for me.
Okay. The Hausa.
Yes. So I take risk, but I take very calculated risk. And I also have a partner who is he's a big risk taker. So he would just say, babe, if you think this would work, let's go for it. I will back you and all of that. But for me, I was like, okay, let me put in a foot first. Let's see how that goes before I, jump into the pool. And I think because with the first project I tried my hands on, it was very good. And so I knew that, okay, if I make my assumptions right, I'll be in a good place.
Let me ask you this. To come and work in Nollywood that is not structured at all, how has that experience been for you?
Well, Nollywood can be structured if you want it to be structured. At least the production part of Nollywood you can control. So what I mean by that is you can put structure in place. Having contracts with your cast and crew, for instance, is part of structure. And every project that I've done, even the short film Wild Goose, my cast and crew have contracts. So everything I do, especially in the production part of it, which is where I have control, there's structure. I won't shoot if I don't have a schedule, for instance. I know some people will say, let's just start. No, the schedule needs to be ready. I need to see that, we have schedule, we know what we're doing. So in terms of structure, I think it's a personal thing. And even with distributors that I've worked with as well, I won't give you my film if we don't sit down and talk about what are we doing for each other, where's the document, lawyers need to look at it, we sign before I go. So to a very large extent, what I can control, I put structure around it.
Okay. So there's not been time that you wonder that what am I doing in this space? Because you are coming from a space where when they say 8 o'clock, everybody is there at 8 o'clock. When they say this, everybody is there.
Yeah.
You understand? How you've not one day looked at yourself that what am I doing here?
So I've been blessed to have met one of the people I met when I newly started. I think this was just like my first year. His name is Benjamin Adeniran. And almost all the projects that I've done, we've done together because he has the temperament, he has the patience for all of those things. So I hold him very close. And so once we're starting a project and I'm beginning to see some of those things, I push it to his table. And I just let him handle it because I know that I can't take that pressure at that time. And it's been very helpful managing those sort of instances. So yes, we get all of those instances where, for instance, actors' call time is 10 a.m. At 2 p.m., we're all still waiting for the actor. Crew members have set up, they've shut down, we're waiting for the actor. And in my mind, I'm like, what kind of rubbish is this? And then Ben will just say to him, don't worry, we won't lose, any scenes for today. We will still do all the things we need to do today. So I've just been blessed to have, somebody like that who helps me to balance those sort of things when we're on set.
So what's your relationship like, or what has been your experience with is it the same distributor that distributed Ayla that is distributing this?
No. So
okay.
I haven't worked with the same distributor twice.
Okay.
Who was the
What's
first you worked with?
Blue Pictures.
Okay. Then this next one was
I worked with Blue Pictures with Charmed. I worked with Triple A in South Africa with Strain. Then we worked with Film One on Ayla. And then now we're with Cinemax for Offshoot.
Okay. What's been your experience like? I mean, I like the fact that you've traveled around. The AAA, they are not based in Nigeria.
They have like a representative now, but as at 2020, when we worked with them, they didn't have a Nigerian representative, so we dealt directly with the South African office.
Okay. What's been your experience like with distributors? Honest.
Big Sam, I'm not sure you want me to say that.
Absolutely. I'm deliberately putting you on the spot.
It's a mix of the good and the bad.
Do you think they are doing enough?
No, to be honest, I think our distributors should do more. I think they should do more. Just generally speaking, I think distributors need to do more. I think they need to show more passion for the films that they on board beyond just what comes to them. I just feel like they're not. I feel like they're not giving enough.
So, I genuinely wish we had enough time to talk about what distributor need to even be spoken about. We can't have enough time for those.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What Jide was saying earlier about the producers, remuneration, royalty. I just feel that there's a lot of unkindness in quotes that the industry is trying to dump on the producer's table.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think the industry has been fair to producers?
I would say no.
Especially actors too.
I would say no. I was even surprised when you backed us because I know, yes, you're one-leg producer, but I'm like, oh, he's a talent manager. Why is he speaking on behalf of producers, right? But I tell people that producers are the last to get anything. We get the crumbs that falls off the table. When Jide was saying earlier, what actors don't realize that for some producers, it's until the third sale before they even break even. So the fact that I made a film, I put it on maybe African Magic, and you think, oh, she's made money from African Magic. Then 2 years' time, you see it on another platform and you're expecting royalty. Guess what? Plus the money from African Magic, from the money from that other platform, I haven't made my production costs back. So when I hear actors say those things, oh, royalty, I'm like, should I show you the books? If producers start to show some of you the books, some of you will come on set and say, don't pay me. Let me just come and do this for you for free.
I think that most of the producers, they are still in business because of passion.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, I want to ask you this as we are rolling down. Why should I see Offshoot?
You should see Offshoot because it's a different type of Nigerian film. It's not your typical Nigerian stories where from the first scene, and apologies to other producers, but most Nigerian stories from the first scene, you know where you're going to. Offshoot is a very different type of film. The storyline is fantastic. The performances are great. The cinematography, the directing, the production quality generally. It's a fantastic film. It's a film that will put you on the edge of your seat as you watch it. And because it covers different genres, so you have a bit of action in it, you have a bit of drama in it, you have some comedic effect in it as well, you have a bit of trailer in it. So whatever you're looking for in a film, it's in Offshoot. And I'm not saying this because it's my film, but Offshoot is a beautiful film. It's a film that, I tell people, go and watch it. If you want your money back guarantee, because when you go, you come back and tell me, Toyin, well done. So you should see Offshoot. It's a beautiful film.
I want to ask you this. A lot of people believe now that a lot of women are taking over the industry. Do you think that this just happened, or it was? Why do you think that's the reason? If you look at the top 10 people who make movies every year in Nollywood, in terms of cinema,
Numbers.
YouTube, numbers, and the rest, the women are the one in control now. What do you think? Do you think that has changed things in the industry?
So I think it will seem as though women are taking over, but the truth is that we always have to work twice as hard as men. And so because we work twice as hard as men, most times when we then put our all into it, the result speaks for it. So we tend to do more than men do, because I mean, men, your lives are easier than our own, either you accept it or not. And so because we then work twice or even thrice as hard as you men do, the result then shows at the end of the journey. That's how I see it.
Okay. Sam.
Okay, I'm putting you on the spot, so.
You like to put people on the spot.
Yes, I mean, I was an entertainment reporter, so you forgive. Who are the top professionals you've worked with in the industry? Actors.
What's your definition of top?
I mean,
Do you like their
professional for
do you like their
professionalism
outlook?
for you? No, not necessarily. From where you are coming from, this person is a professional.
Okay, in terms of being professional, right?
Yes.
I'll say Jimmy Odukoya. Yeah, I worked with him years ago, but he amazed me on set, and I can't forget that experience. So I would say Jimmy Odukoya. I would say Greg Ojefua. Greg has a certain calmness to him that also amuses me. Like, Greg can get to your set 2 hours before call time, and he will just sit and say, when you're ready, let me know. Even if you're having production delay and all of that, you just need to tell him. He won't make a fuss of it, and I sort of appreciate that. Because you're saying top 3, because there are lots of them. So I mean, I'm just Ibrahim Suleiman, another fantastic person that I've also enjoyed to work with. I think a lot of the other actors, as I said earlier, most times because of my kind of person.
How come women are not on your list?
That's where I'm going to. Because of my kind of person, I flow more with male than female. So, and then Benjamin and I sort of play that game where I'm dealing with the male actors and then Benjamin is interacting with the female actors. We kind of play that sort of role.
Okay, so, last question.
Yeah.
It's funny, below the bed. Has Nollywood people tried to make passes at you?
At me?
Yes.
In what capacity?
I mean, whatever.
Do they make passes at producers?
They make passes at everybody.
Apologies, but I'm paying your money. You can't make passes at me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's no room for that. Right. So, yeah, maybe people would admire, but most times I'm doubling as EP and producer on set. So I guess that thing of, oh, she's the EP sort of keeps people away from me. So I haven't experienced it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
My own last question, which we are going to answer in 30 seconds. What are we expecting after Offshoot? Because I know how creative minds work. When you finish this, even if you are in the depth of 150 million, you are already thinking of another thing.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of?
So there are two story ideas we're playing with at the moment. That's one which is like a sequel to Offshoots. We feel like there's still a part of the Offshoot story that we need to explore further. So there's a bit of that. And there's a comedy story that we're also thinking about. I can't say too much about that just now, but there's also a comedy that we're exploring that we may also, so we're just trying to decide which should go before which.
Are you not thinking of doing anything your mother's done Yoruba?
So I prefer a blend of, I'm not a fan of all Igbo or all Yoruba. I sort of like that there's a mix.
Because I'm jealous that you've done Hausa that time.
I just like, but I did Ayinla, so
okay.
Technically.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And I hope that you will come another time. And I have seen Offshoot, and I can tell people that it is a beautiful movie.
Thank you.
You understand? And I implore you to watch it. If you don't like it, call me, I'll return back your money.
Yes, money back guarantee.
It's a money back guarantee. I'm sure you've enjoyed this week edition of Nollywood on Radio. We shall be back next week with another guest, and I'm sure you've learned one or two things from our guests, from Jide and from Toyin Adewunmi. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you again next week.